Surprise! I was about to say I'm early, but I'm not really early because it's 9:02. But according to my intro screen, I'm early. I'm just running late, as ever. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Fishy Business 115, I think we're on to now. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Please ignore the mess. Everything's a bit of a disaster around here at the moment. Sound good, video good. That's what we like to hear. Thank you, Rocky's Rocky. We've got Hans in from Sweden. Let's say hello to a few people. Ross, good evening from a warm and sunny Edinburgh. It was a warm and sunny Sheffield today, but it's got a little bit of a chill in the air. Brian from a sunny Northumberland in the bag. Good evening, Lou. How are you? Rocky's we've said hello. Stuart says hello from a dry and still sunny Wolverhampton, even. Martin, good evening. Sunny Merseyside. Sunny everywhere. Oh, I like it, David. Good evening from a sunny Merseyside. After watching the last video, let's jack up the views. Do you know what? I'm surprised more people haven't had a go at me for using a jack. But we shall talk about the last video in a little while. Talk about some more plans, some more DIY that I've done. Bones that I've broken, all that good stuff. Brian's just finished watching a classic movie from the 80s which has the immortal line, "Death by Stereo." I don't know what that one would be. Evening Mark, evening Vibes, evening Humble Apple Crumble, I do apologise. NGW, hi from Doncaster, hi from Sheffield. As we welcome some people in, as always, let me know where you are in the world, what the weather is. For some reason that's a thing now. And as always, the price of admission for this evening's entertainment, and I say entertainment in the loosest sense of the word, is a like. You just have to click that like button. If it's your first time here, it's not usually like this. Sometimes I do video content which is informative, educational, inspirational. It's none of those things. Sometimes I make videos about my disasters. So click the subscribe button because it's the only thing keeping me going. After chatting with Callum earlier on, he keeps sending me links trying to start YouTube beefs with me and various other people, but he was watching another YouTuber who's an aquatic YouTuber who made a video about someone getting a new car. And I'm like, why do I bother sometimes? They can get thousands of views for that, but yeah, it's nothing to do with fish. Who knows? Anyway, this evening isn't about fish. It's about enjoying your Friday evening after a long, hard slog of a week. For some of us, I guess there'll be a lot of people enjoying half term here in the UK and England anyway. It's been half term week, so I have a long, hard slog at work. Well, my kids have been here as well. Love you guys. So we get to have a bit of a wind down, with it being Friday night, and enjoy a tasty beverage. Let me know if you're enjoying a tasty snack and beverage. I don't think I've got any new ones this week except for this one, which is one that I quite like called Vocation, and this is Hop, Skip and Juice, a hazy pale ale. Now, pale ales, they've been a bit hit and miss for me. Hazy, I quite like, but it's only a little dinky can. How do we fix that? We get two. So, for all you ASMR addicts, oh, it does smell quite juicy. That's always nice. And it does look quite light. Bit hazy. Yeah, we'll take that as hazy. So, again, this is an aquatics channel, so I don't know why I'm going on about somebody having a car, but the live streams, we do all kinds of things, it's fine. The nose, which I'm told that's how you're meant to say things, light, fresh, citrusy. Not offensive, let's go with that. Doesn't taste particularly juicy. not minging, we'll go for a win. It's quite bland, if I'm completely honest. But sometimes you want bland. You just want light, fresh, refreshing. I need to cut my beard. It's all going everywhere and getting in on me. So, as we know, we will be having a quiz, roughly 10 p.m. Getting fewer and fewer fishy questions in the quiz each week as it's harder and harder to come up with them. So there might be some tenuous links to some fishy questions in the quiz. The quiz will be at roughly 10 p.m. A prize for the winner will be some kind of voucher because it's easier than sending things out. You'll get, let's say, a 20% voucher off anything at aquariadventures.co.uk. Ta-da! We'll have any questions that you want to ask. Let me know in the chat. Say anything. There's no such thing as a stupid... well, that's not true. There's loads of stupid questions. Sorry, that was my dog. But type the word question before your question and then it highlights it for me and I can see it because as we all know, I'm not very good at keeping up with the chat. I want to know what's going on. If you've got any fishy news, any fishy topics you want to talk about, let us know. I'll talk about my previous videos, some mega tank updates, some things to come, all that good stuff. But we shall crack on and say hello to a few more people. Vibes is lurking and eating lunch. Humble Apple Grumble is from County Durham. Hey, says Juggler, and to win the quiz again. I'm going to make a new rule. If you win 3 times in a row, no, you're not banned. So that's purely for Juggler because your name reminded me there. To give other people a chance. If you win 3 times in a row, that's it. You're locked out for a couple of weeks and you can no longer win. You can still play and you can still win, you just won't get the prize. To give other people a bit of a chance because some people are better than others at the quiz. So this is your final week. I think this will be 3 in a row for you. I think Scott had 3 in a row once as well. But yeah, it's free for all for everyone today. Pardon me. And the big Tropical Fish UK says hello. Big Time Fish Keeper says, hi guys, does anyone know where I can get some good worms online for my... what? My Fahaka puffer, I think that's supposed to say. I use... So, I'll answer this in 2 parts. I think I want to say it's... I put their stickers all over my stuff. Well, I think it's called Yorkshire worms. Yeah, it is. It's called Yorkshire worms. Let's see if I can do small vase and put that over there. That's about right, isn't it? Yorkshire worms, buy worms online. I've used them for a long time. I found them on eBay, of all places, first of all. But I've started just going direct now. And they always seem to have stock, lots of different types. You can set up your own worm farms if you want, all that kind of stuff. Found them to be really good sizes as well. And good, what's the word I'm trying to say? I've bought them in the past where you get the weight is just the weight of the soil and they don't actually care how many worms are in the soil, but they seem to actually do quite good about that. So yes, fully happy to recommend Yorkshire worms. However, I'm not all that sure that worms are the greatest of foods for a Fahaka because they're going to need something that's got some crunch, so snails might be a better choice. I mean, worms are fine as a treat, but I wouldn't make it a staple diet, I guess is all I'm trying to say, because they do need something to wear down their beak. And if you just feed them soft stuff all the time, you're going to get to a point where you're going to need to either take it to a vet or take action yourself and grind down that beak. And if you just let it do it with the foods that it's going to eat, that might be a little bit easier on you and the fish in the long term. I used the... snails and clams were my staple food when I had my Fahaka, and I got, because much like Yorkshire worms, there'll be a Yorkshire snails place, but I can't remember the name of that place. I used to buy, what's the name of them? Escargot snails, basically food snails that you would buy to eat. And again, just keep them in a big box. They breed readily. So as long as you have a few adults, they'll be producing small ones over and over and over again. And as your fish grows, you can let the snails get to a size where they are more and more palatable for your Fahaka. And yeah, it's a good good, easier way to make something that can be quite difficult. Clams I would get from a local Chinese supermarket. So Sheffield has quite a good Chinese district or Asian district where you can go and see the Asian supermarkets. And the Chinese supermarkets always seem to have clams, and they're always pretty reasonable. So there you go. Yeah, look at that, a fishy tip. That had to happen eventually. We talk about fish on the Friday Night Live stream. Sound good. Hey guys, did Megatank hold? We don't know yet. So I have released a video today about Megatank. For those of you that don't know, Megatank is my DIY plywood aquarium that I made myself, and it shows because it won't hold water. I've repaired everything and it's ready to be refilled. So that's the stage that I've got to. The video I released today was going through the motions of the things that I thought I had to fix and the thought process behind the way that I fixed it. And then I just left it because I wanted to leave it for a good few days to cure, make sure everything had dried out properly, gave it time to cure. So that video that was released today, although it was only 10 minutes long or whatever that was, like a week and a half's worth of effort to get to that point. I would be filling it today or tomorrow, but I've got a birthday party to go to, of my relative's birthday party, so we're away tomorrow. So Sunday it'll be getting refilled. So keep your eye on the socials. There's the Discord up here. You can follow me on all the other social medias, and I'll no doubt give you some updates. I might even do some live streaming of the filling. But I'm hopeful. I mean, it's one of the comments that I made in the video was, if you've watched any of my older videos where Megatank had problems, there was a lot of effing and jeffing, and I was clearly upset about it, and it was making me angry, it was making me sad, it was making me frustrated. This time when it started leaking, I was a bit like, oh, it's leaking again. And one of the comments, I can't remember who made it, but one of the comments was like, I'm glad to see that you've finally taken it to heart that it's never going to hold water properly and it will just have to have leaks repaired every now and again. I was a bit like, meh. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but that was very much the approach I took to this. It was like, oh, it's leaking again. Not, oh my God, it's leaking again. At least it had held water for months successfully. And the thing that made me happiest was that there was such an obvious fault. Every other leak was unexplainable. I could not figure out what was going on. And they may have been the same thing. So the fault this time was, to my mind, and I could be wrong, but to my mind, clearly pressure over time, pushed wood out, broke a seal, water, leak. That could have been what was happening previously, and I just fixed it better, which made it a more of a temporary long-term-ish fix. And it just took longer to fail again because of the amount of fiberglassing and siliconing and liquid rubbering and all those things that I did. Whereas now, if I have mechanically fixed that wood in place and it can't move, maybe it will be fixed forever. Who knows? But it was the whole that, right, I can see a thing, I can fix a thing. The previous ones where I can't tell where that's leaking from, or I can't tell why that's not holding water. There was nothing obvious enough for me to fix it, which was just so frustrating. And thinking that you'd got it, because this is a process. Every time it leaks, that's a week. It's out for a week. It needs to drain. That takes a day pretty much to drain it. It needs to dry. It needs to have the fix applied. That needs to dry. And it needs to have another couple of coats maybe or something. That they need to dry. So it's out of action for a week. So it's not like you can just, like if it was one of these aquariums, you could just drain it, bead the silicone, wait a day, fill it. It's a much more involved process. So that in and of itself is a little bit disheartening when you have to go through all that. But this time I was a bit like, and I was looking at it very positively with, while I've got it drained, I might sort out this escape, in inverted commas, because it's so big and deep, it's hard to do anything once it's full of water. So now that it's empty, I can get it out, I can put in some bigger boulders and ease them into place easier, take my time over organising it, and I got to fix other things. So I have other projects that I've talked about it before, this is my office where I work during the day. I want that to be in the garage. But I had to clear out, it was like a whole row of dependencies of things that I needed to do before I can get to that point. So I got to knock off some of those jobs. I had to move the old display tank and fix it. So that's fixed, stands built, that's in place roughly. It's in the garage. I had to build a shed so as I can move some of the stuff out of there. The shed's built. Made some space so as I could put the tank in. So all these other boxes have been ticked while I've been doing this one job with Mega Tank. So it's a combination of all those things make me feel a little bit more positive about it and a little bit more... I don't know how to describe it, but I was very much not frustrated by it. It was like, it's one of those things, fine, okay, we'll do that, but here's an opportunity to do all these other things at the same time. So it's lined me up for all the new projects to come, whether they be setting up the office in the fish room, extending the fish room, putting up a new wall to make the fish room more permanent, or I might just go with curtains again, moving all this down there, which then lets me do another job up here and make this a spare bedroom, blah, blah, blah. So it's like quite exciting times, so I was all quite happy with all that. So that's the Mega Tank update, in as much as if you watch the video, there is no more update. The very last shot of that was last night or this morning, I think it might have been. It's just waiting, drying, curing, ready for the first test fill, which will probably be Sunday now. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Brian saying, Graham, this is jack of all trades. Definitely. So the rest of that saying is master of none. I'm definitely master of none. So I was manlier than I felt in a long time last weekend when I built a shed. And it's not even one of these pre-packed sheds. Like, I erected structures from scratch, designed and built. There's no instructions or anything. I went to a lumber yard and I bought lumber and I cut it to sizes and I did things and went, beat chest, manly. So I felt very good about that. But yeah, jack of all trades, definitely not. There was lots of... I mean, this is like 20 years of trial and error of things that I've learned rather than knowing how to do things. Evening says Dangerous Dan and the jack of all trades. Well, if there's like a lower level than jack of all trades, if there's like a gem of all trades, he knows a little bit and is willing to try his hand at things. That's more my level. The classic 80 movies that had the line Death by Stereo was The Lost Boys. I should have known that, but it's been a while since I've watched The Lost Boys, I must admit. Pixel Perfect, this is my first live episode. Welcome, Pixel Perfect. You have stumbled into a live stream where I've actually been talking about fishy stuff. This is very unusual. We don't always talk about fishy stuff. So I want to hear about your weeks. I want to hear if you have any fishy stories. I want to hear them. Let me know. Have you got plans for the weekend? New fish to buy? New tanks to set up? Tanks to change? Jobs to do? Let me know in the chat what we're doing. But equally, if you're trying a new beer for the first time, let me know that too. As it is your first time, we'll go a quick recap. We're generally going to talk nonsense for a while. Then around about 10 o'clock, we'll have a quiz. If you win the quiz, there might be prizes. The quiz is loosely fishy themed. I mean, they're very tenuous links, some of them. 20 questions, fastest finger first type deal. Bit of fun. And then I take the piss out of everyone afterwards for all the questions they get wrong. But yes, more people need to play. We need to get these numbers up. But other than that, if you want to ask anything, no topic is out of bounds. Ask anything you want to ask. Just type the word question. There's a higher chance I will see your question if you use the word question in your question. I feel like I say that an awful lot. It might be a new merch lineup. Use the word question in your question. Both Northumberland and Thirsk in Yorkshire are sunny today. Well, it's been a lovely day here, so I can imagine that to be true. Both my cars are 20 years old and no sign of replacing them soon. Oh, is this because I was talking about... I mean, I don't want to talk about this. Just, Callum, if you're watching, you annoyed me by... Stop sending me things that annoy me. I don't like that. For a bit of context, Callum who you might know as a moderator, a friend of the channel. How can I see his name anywhere? I can see Courtney's name. Oh, Callum is here. He likes to send me things to start fights. I can only imagine that's what it is. But he sent me, I guess because we've been talking about it recently, we've been talking about YouTubing in general and clickbait and how I've been accused of clickbaiting in the past. Which, so let's get this out of the way, is completely unfounded. When you hear what's coming, my accusations of clickbait are ridiculous. I'm now going to open the second can of this because they're only small. Sent me a thumbnail. In fact, can I see if we can find the thumbnail? It was this. If you can see this. This is Ohio Fish Rescue. Reaper gets an amazing gift at Ohio Fish Rescue. And the thumbnail is Reaper gets a gift. And it's one of those crazy sink fish tanks. I have to be completely honest, I don't really watch Ohio Fish Rescue videos that often, and it's not because I have anything against them, or it's just I don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of videos, and I've nothing against them. I just don't spend a lot of my time watching their videos. I've seen a few. I know, kind of get the gist of what's going on. So I thought, okay, there's going to be a video where someone sent them that fish tank and they're going to set it up and use it, or he's going to give it to, I guess, Reaper as a person. He's going to give it to Reaper, and there you go, that's a gift. But no, it's how long is it? A 16-minute video of some guy getting a new car. This guy, in fact. There you go. That's the live stream coming up, scheduled for. Well, you can watch it straight after this. You can go along and tell them. Some dude's got a car. You know that way where, I don't know, if you get a new car, you might drive over to your mate's house and go, look, what do you think of a new car? And you stand, you have a chat. Oh yeah, what's it like? What kind of MPG do you get? Oh, how fast is it? Let's have a look under the bonnet. Oh, is that an ST? It's that for 16 minutes. And you're like, what the fuck has that got to do with a fish tank? Or, more specifically, what's it got to do with that fish tank? And it's not even as if it was... No, well, to be fair, there was like a minute of them feeding their big massive fish at the start of it. And then a 15-minute conversation about a car. How many views has it got? In 4 hours, it's got 2,600 views. For a fish channel. More power to them. So, yeah, that annoyed me. That I try and make actual fish videos. So like, why bother? But I understand that this was a car funded by a GoFundMe that was run by the channel, from reading some of the comments. So I guess there's a tenuous link to it being related to the channel. And you know what? In the end of the day, if you can get away with that, more power to you. Yeah, I just didn't get it. So because I watched that video an hour ago, I've been getting loads of other Ohio Fish Rescue videos sent at me, or highlighted or promoted, and it seems like it's not even it's not a thing anymore. It's just they make videos about whatever the hell they want to make videos about, and people lap it up. So more power to them. So yeah, apparently this guy had an old car, now he's got a newer car, and he's quite happy with it. So who are we to say? David's having a tasty blood orange Thatcher cider. I tried them. I didn't really find them that orangey, so I wasn't much of a fan. Vibes, it's 89 degrees and sunny and humidity of 48 here in Texas. Well, that must be quite warm. What's that in proper money? We still on big face? 89 F and a real temperature is 31.6. That's pretty warm. Fish Vet's in. Is there an update to Mega Tank? Yeah, hopefully you just heard it. What the F are you drinking? I'm drinking this. Vocation, hop, skip, and juice. I didn't give you the rundown on it, did I? Because I can't see, because I'm an old man who's blind. Simcoe and Citra hops. 5.7% volume. So, not super strong, but strong enough to make me stumble on my words, no doubt. So if you're just coming in now, they only come in small cans like that, so I'm having 2. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. It's quite nice though. Nice smelling, inoffensive, no aftertaste, whatever. Fish Fam Links is in, as is Vibes. We've seen you should get AI to generate questions. Oh, do you know what? I've spent most of my working time these last few weeks using AI to do my job for me, or being scared that AI is quite competent at doing my job for me and asking it questions and things like that. I adore AI. It's my best friend. Yeah, I'm getting that way too. Where'd you get your live worm from? Yorkshire worms. Am I going backwards? What's going on here? I'll try and skip through a little bit. Passing wind. Hello, Kaylee says hello, as does Mickey. Nice to see you. Rebecca's in. Sorry I'm late. I was watching live with Brian. Glad to hear that you're catching up on some of the classic films. The Silver Creek is in. Tommy saying, fangirl, fanboy, oh, fat Q boy, oh, what the hell? I'm obviously ahead of you in beers tonight. Quite right. The use of wood and the jack was very dramatic. When it all fell the first time, I looked straight at the glass, expecting a crack. Very happy. I fully expected that to happen. And that's why I think I said in the video, this is going to explode, that's going to explode, or I'm going to explode. Something, I could tell this was, I thought that had like a 5% chance of not going horrifically wrong. And I was just in the mood, thought, well, you know what, if it, we'll film it, and if it takes my head off, at least it'll go out in fashion and style, and it'll be on camera. So that was very much not do what I do, but do as I say. So don't do that. There are much safer ways, as many people in the comments have been commenting and letting me know. I'm not the Messiah, I'm a very naughty boy. Yeah, and to be clear, I haven't actually fixed it yet, or we don't know that because I haven't done the test fill, but that'll be coming at some point. Right, let's see if we can catch up with some of the... There we go, there's Callum. How we doing? When you got your lumber, did you wear a plaid shirt? I pretty much wore this. I mean, that was one of the more emasculating parts of the whole process, so never felt manlier. But going to the wood shop, I'm sure it has a proper name, timber yard? Yeah, that'll do. I went with my good lady wife, and this was her. She wanted this, but I want to help with it as well. So we're there, and she had worked out all the what's the word? Measure things, dimensions. That's the word. She'd worked out all the dimensions because she wanted this specific style of tongue and groove paneling to go on. So I wanted to buy all the timbers to build a framework out, and then I was going to put on the tongue and groove. So I'm there in this timber yard, and they've got like a section where they've got all their tools and stuff, so I'm there admiring their massive spirit levels. I don't know why, I've always wanted a spirit level that was 6 feet tall. Can't think of a reason why I would need one, but I've always wanted one. So I'm there going, oh, Vicky, spirit level, 6 feet long, can I get this? She's like, giving me that look. And then, oh, look, a tape measure, does it 8 meters? No, okay then. Oh, look at this. No, I'm not allowed to buy any of these things. And then I was doing my manly thing, stroll up to this and go, because I wanted nails. I didn't have any nails in, so I thought, well, they're a timber yard, they'll sell the nails. So after this, I couldn't see any. I could only see like the big, massive headed nails. So I said to the guy, "Have you got a nail in it?" "Oh no, we've not got any." I was looking for some like lost head nails or panel pins, as if I know what I'm talking about. And he's like, "Yeah, we don't sell any of them." I was like, "Well, what kind of nails would you use for this tongue and groove paneling that you'd put on?" And he went, "I wouldn't use nails. I'd use a nail gun because I'm allowed to buy a nail gun." And just gave me a look, stared deep into my soul like that. And I was like, and quick side glance to the wife. No, not allowed a nail gun. I did almost cut my finger off with the skill saw, so maybe that's a good thing. No offence, Tommy. So that was my most masculine weekend, and that was the most emasculating part of it. The jack of all trades, car jack, that was not lost on me, but you know. Hans, so if you want to join us on Discord up here, you'll see Hans is talking about his plywood build. Hopefully, which will go a lot smoother having watched some of my videos, so he knows exactly what not to do. Ohio Fish Rescue isn't quite predatory fin, but the cringe is strong. Yeah, I have nothing against them because I don't really watch their stuff, so I don't know what's going on. I get the whole premise. They have lots of big fish tanks and take in fish, but there's just an air of this week's prize is a new car. Well, if you wanted to be a new car, it can be a new car, and I'll play the same joke that my family played on me when I told them I wanted an Aston Martin for my birthday, and they got me one that was about that size. So I've never heard of this Ohio Fish Rescue, and this isn't selling me on watching any of the... I mean, I'm not trying to sell you or put you off. It's a niche that I guess is appealing to people, and they have some big fish and big fish tanks, but there seems to be a lot about other things. I feel like I should be engaged about fish and cars, but it's meh. Well, it wasn't a fancy... It was a fake Ford Focus ST, in as much as it had an ST badge on it and a racing stripe almost straight put on the bonnet. But it was like a saloony one, so it wasn't an ST, unless Ford make different ones in America, which is possible, I suppose, but who knows. The last time you did an off-topic video, it put you a year behind in something. I'm still not catching up for that. I don't know. I was looking at my analytics this week in a quiet moment, and I think I'm destined to never get anywhere. Right, everyone get your small violins out. I was gaining more subs per month when I had about 8,000 subscribers than I do now with 15,000. So I think I've peaked. I think everybody that might be interested in anything I have to show is already subscribed and probably since left. Yeah, we're slowing down. Who knows? Aquarium people fund. Well, maybe we should do that. Should we have like a GoFundMe? We'll pick some good cause. I mean, I try to do that every year with my charity calendar, but the most we've ever raised is about £300 or £400. I don't think I have the reach to fund a car for anyone. I mean, unless it was like a £300-400 car, which, you know, that was some of the best times I had when I was a bit younger and didn't have a family and no real commitments as such. I used to buy cars off eBay with three had 3 golden rules. Had to be under £100. It had to have more than a month's MOT, and it had to be under 150,000 miles. And that was the criteria. Anything else went, and I had some amazing cars. I had some shocking cars, and I quite often broke the £100 one, so every now and again I'd buy one that was £150. Ooh, pushing the boat out. But in my mind, that was cheaper than going to a car dealership and paying like finance, or saying, well, if I spent £150 a month on a car, I'd get something so bland and boring and be stuck with it for years. Whereas if I went and bought, so I got a Saab 900 Turbo, it was like an old B-Reg or something like that. It was awesome. It had so many things wrong with it, but that was great. If it lasted me a month, I was more than happy with it. So I had that one for a couple of months. That was great. I had a Sirocco, like an old proper Sirocco. That lasted me a couple of months until it blew up. But I would just, every couple of months, I'd go and buy a new one, and it was great. And I got to try some really old classic cars. And it was much more fun. The thrill of driving along knowing you might not make it home. But it was much more interesting cars than I would have got had I put that money into finance. Now, obviously, if I needed a car and I had my kids in the car and stuff like that, then that's not necessarily the smartest decision to make. But that was so much more fun. I got trucks, I got vans, I got all sorts. That was great fun. Why am I talking about this? I don't know where this tangent has come from. Oh yeah, they bought a car, yeah. Right, I'm not buying anyone a car, so Stuart says the wife needs a new car. Sorry. My knife fish video has damaged. Well, at least that's about fish, and you cited all your sources as well. The orange Thatcher ciders were grim. Yep, I'm in agreement there. Oh no, Tommy's wearing short shorts. Oh, we have a question. Right, thank you, Brian. Do you think keeping a successful angelfish tank is a good precursor to keeping discus, or just jump into discus, as presuming you know the basics of keeping good water conditions? I don't feel you need to work up with the discus as such. So the answer is probably yes, it is a good precursor, but it could be a successful tank of any description. If you can keep fish happy, keep water clean, you can keep discus. They're not all that weird. Are all the mega tank fish doing all right now that they're spread out? I bet that was fun. It was. I lost the footage, but it was wet. Let's put it that way. Moving big fish is never a dry affair in my experience, and I got soaked. But all the fish are doing well. I'm lucky in that I hadn't filled up all my other tanks. So I have space for them. So I've got the Oscars and the Severum in one tank, which is like a 4-foot tank, I think. I've got the Silver Dollars back in the 3-foot cube tank, and then I fixed my old display tank, which is 5 foot by 2 foot, for the giant gourami and the snakehead. And touch wood, they're all doing fine. Oh, Nabokov's in, painting the wall. Please tell the pups not to lick the wall. Silver Surfer, hello there. I like that. The angels are more satanic, discus less so. Yeah, although this week I have had, I think 3, possibly just 2, but 3 pairs in my discus tank have started spawning, and all hell has broken out. And where you think discus are all these serenity, peaceful, when they start to lay and you've got 3 of them at it, you need a 20-foot tank. They have been kicking the ever-loving poop out of a couple of the discus who dare to stray into their territory, but you're like, I've got nowhere else to go. So I think I might have to move at least one pair is very determined. They've had 3 spawns in the last 2 weeks or something like that, which have all got to wigglers and all got to free swimmers, and then just been picked off by all the other fish in there. And that pair is quite a nice pair. It's the Alenquery style. They're more natural looking ones, so I quite fancy getting a load of them. So I might let them breed and see if I can get a batch or 2 and see if we can raise them. One of the other pairs, the heckle is involved. I can't tell which other fish it is, so it's either one that would be okay or one that would be terrible. So I can't tell which one it is that's the other partner of that one quite, because there's a few milling around. And then we've got one of the pigeon bloods is paired with another one that I do not want them to pair up, so I need to talk them down and pour some cold water on them. Say, pack that in. We don't want any of that nonsense. But I'd really like to get the heckle breeding. I've no idea. I need to look up in the genetics of it to see whether or not we'll get more heckles that way. But the other pair, the Alenquery type ones, I think they'd look quite nice. Nabokov fan, a question I'm terrified to ask. Be nice. I'm stressed. It's about Megatank. I have no further updates. So for anyone who's just joining, the video that I released today is as far as we've got. We've got the tank is curing, shall we say. The very last shot of that was this morning. I shot that. Oh, was it last night? Nothing has changed. I'm busy tomorrow, so I won't be doing anything tomorrow. So it will be getting filled on Sunday probably. Life of Brian, another I've not seen. Right. Feel free to turn this off, Scott, and go and watch Life of Brian, or Holy Grail is my favourite of the Monty Python films. But you have permission to rescind your moderator duties tonight to go and watch that. Is the back wall in terms of screws? Yeah, everything else Megatank was fine. That one area is the only area that has any problems so far that I've been able to see. Discus are just squashed severums. There's an opinion that's going to get you banned. I quite like severums as well, so I'll allow it. Be sure to blow up Freshwater Ichthyology's wonderful interview that went out this week. Yes, why not? Why not indeed? So, a friend of the channel, Rebecca, Freshwater Ichthyology, had an interview on, what was it called? Animal something or other? Hang on, I'll find it. I can do this. I can. I know I can. I have the no, not that. I have the technology. Why are you doing that? Stop that. No, not there. This is interesting watching me try and find this, isn't it?
Hi everyone,
No, it's not that one either. Put a link in somewhere. I can't do it. But it was interviewed by a podcast, and I think you were quite worried about it, and I don't know why, because you did absolutely fine. Better or as good as any other interviewee I've seen on a podcast. You didn't even appear overly nervous or anything like that, so I thought you did quite well and covered your points clearly and succinctly. So yeah, more of that. But anyone who's interested in reptiles and that sort of crossover between what we do in the aquarium hobby and what people do in the herp hobby, do they call themselves herpers? I don't know. The snakes and lizards and all that kind of stuff. It was interesting to see where the crossovers were, and so they were coming from that side, asking you questions as a fishy expert, and yeah, there was some interesting things to be picked up on there. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I think Rebecca was quite concerned that she was covering some contentious subjects, or subjects that people have been very critical about, and people have been quite vocal about. What is a nature aquarium, and what is natural versus what is just green, versus how close to nature can you get by putting things in a glass box. So, oh yeah, that's a nature aquarium because it's got plants in it. That's not quite the case. And I don't think you said anything outrageously controversial or anything like that. So I can't see why you would get pushback on that. I can see why you would get pushback just because people are arseholes sometimes, and people like to say things that are arsehole-ish. So if you get any, let me know and I'll go and sort them out. But yeah, someone stick a link in there, because that was quite a good... it was a good introduction to another channel as well. If nothing else, I watched a couple of the other podcasts and got some interest from some of them. So I'm always up for promoting friends of the channel. Oh no, aquarium domains in. As someone who really knows how to build big tanks, all we need now is we need all the big tank builders to come in and shame me for my pitiful attempts to build a big tank. Hope you're well. Right, we've got 12 minutes before we do the quiz. So if you're all ready and gearing up for that. James Handy, hello, how are you? Woodshop. Oh my god, I'm so far behind. So all those people that I've just mentioned probably aren't in here anymore. Right, I'm going to try and go really quickly. In fact, no I'm not. I'm going to try and... what am I going to try and do? I'm going to put the link to the quiz up. He says, hopefully. Link to the quiz is going in the chat now. I want to see as many of you as possible to come and play. There will be prizes, or prize. Depending how my next beer goes, there might be prizes. And get all loose and jiggly. And while I wait for you all to join the quiz, I'm going to crash down through all these comments. Again, if you have an actual question, type question in your question and I will see your question. Otherwise, I mean nothing by it if I skip over some to catch up. You need more drama. Drama sells. Go on TikTok. There's nothing wrong with OFR. I didn't say there was anything wrong with OFR. I said he made a terrible clickbaity thumbnail and a video about a car. Nothing wrong with him. It's a father-son channel. Has a serious accident with brain damage. Reaper, the guy with the car, is basically always in need and the fans love him. Reaper holds camera. Okay. Most of the videos are them driving to many states to go and pick up fish from someone and put in a pond in their living room or something crazy. Okay. I get that, and again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Ohio Fish Rescue. I'm merely commenting that Callum sent me a link to a video that had feck all to do with fish or rescuing them. And it just befuddled me that you can spend 16 minutes having a chat about a second-hand car. Hey, if you can get... hard work if you can't get it. That's the point. It's nothing to do with the fish. Again, if they get away with it, more power to them. We've got a charity shout out there. The Joseph Thomas Foundation, made by a friend of mine, a non-profit to help children that can't afford medical equipment for their home, like adjustable beds and chairs, etc. Well, there you go. A shout out for the Joseph Thomas Foundation. I don't know anything about it, but I do a charity drive every year. So maybe we can If I do get any more pool in this game, we can up that to a couple of times a year, etc. and do a few more charity drives. Sometimes it feels like life stuff like that may be private and not for YouTube, including how he changes his wife without even being able to ask her to share that info. Yeah, well, I don't know enough about it to comment, but there are things like that. We need a car for Courtney. She's just passed her. Congratulations, Courtney! You've joined the world of the drivers. So if anyone has a spare car, we have someone in need. I feel like we need to work up the pay scale. Yeah, there is a little bit of that, I guess. Yeah, discus is a funny one because they are quite an expensive fish, and you do so much better the bigger you buy the fish, and the bigger they are, the more expensive they are. And you do so much better if you buy a lot of them at the same time. So if you buy a lot of big fish at the same time, that's a lot of money. It can get very much out of control. Right, I'm going to shoom all the way down. Oh, heckles are their own species and not distance from Aquafasciatus. So I assume it's more something you can mess with. Maybe. Holy Grail is too... All that nice stuff I said about you, Rebecca. It's not too random at all. Although, I must admit, I did watch it with my kids recently, and they spent the whole time going... I don't know, maybe you just need to be stoned to watch it. 22 likes and 67 watching. Come on, people. Let's have a little bit more of this. That's all we ask is one little like. Right, 5 minutes to go, and then we start the quiz. Sorry, I just seen Scott's answer there. Thanks for the offer. I'll watch it at some point. I mean, we'll probably do this after the quiz, but the Life of Brian is on the required watching list, but there's probably way more in front of it that I'd like you to get to first, especially after last week. Oh, some questions. Question, how's the pond? The pond's bloody brilliant, I'll have you know. My little solar filter barrel bog, whatever you call it, filter, it's doing really well. It's keeping the water really clear. And today, we added a bunch of fish to it. Yay! I got what I wanted. And not only did they add a bunch of fish to it, my wife picked the fish, so it was her idea. Yeah, so I couldn't be happier. We added a bunch of shabunkins, some fancier comets, some lemon comets. Yeah, so we added a whole bunch of them because it was getting infested with mosquito larvae. So that'll hopefully take care of them in a couple of days. But yeah, it's sweet as a nut. It's running perfectly. I absolutely love it. We've planted it up. We've got all over Facebook Marketplace for pond plants and all kinds of stuff. So we've got loads of pond plants, loads of plants around the borders, planted up the bog filter. It's looking great. Might not get a video out in a little while because no one cares. But thank you for asking, Stuart. We might get a video out eventually. Paul Jeffries, I'm fairly new to your channel. Have you ever thought of having a saltwater aquarium? I have had a saltwater aquarium. I've had a couple of saltwater aquariums in the past. Maybe we'll do them again one day, but I'm quite happy with my freshwater at the moment. But yeah, I do like saltwater. I was more interested in the corals and things like that. But yeah, I have nothing against saltwater. Let's put it that way. I'm just satisfied with my freshwater. Alright, let me see if we can scroll down a little bit. Shabumtings, indeed. Right. We have 12 potential players. If you want to play, there's the link. Let's see if we can get a few more players. All you have to do is have a device that you're able to do alongside. Don't answer the questions in the chat. You answer them in the quiz, which is on that link. Any plant recommendations for a small bog filter? I would go with any plants that are good for marginal plants. I immediately forgotten all the names of all the plants that we've used, but when I make a video about it, I'll remember to do that. Have you ever thought about keeping koi? Yes. I even considered sticking in like some cheapo koi into this pond, but we've gone with the goldfish. And I do like the goldfish, so that's fine. Maybe one day we'll get a koi pond. Maybe one day Mega Tank will be used as a koi pond. But I have another area in the garden that I'd like to make like a half submerged, half raised pond. And there's space to build like a proper filter house next to it, so I could have the proper filters and everything. I do watch a couple of koi channels, and my understanding from the koi world is you really need to hammer it with the filtration to keep koi at their best. So maybe. Is there a theme tonight for the quiz, which is going to start in 2 minutes, everyone? 2-minute warning. Not really. There are a couple of what happened this week in the news questions. There's the obvious Jean-Claude Van Damme questions, but other than that, it's a bit of a mix. Jane Pink, I think you're just here to make sure I haven't actually killed myself with my DIY attempts. Welcome. Shabunkin are koi, but prettier. Well, they're like mini kois, I like to call them. Or cheapman's kois, as Brian calls them. Quite right. Some Disney questions? No, there are. I think there's a couple of loosely film-related questions, maybe. Right, we'll do the countdown, shall we? I can't believe I only had one beer. Well, 2 little ones. That counts as one. Let's go little face and make sure it's all aligned properly. Oh, what's going on there? Hang on. I need to move things around here. Put that there. Shall I move myself? Oh, God. Yeah, do it all while you're live, Graham. That's the way to do it. I'm going to put myself down here for a change. We'll clear the questions. Are we ready, people? Jen has a question. Do you tell your wife before you try something creative? No. Shh. Don't tell anyone. She would find me eventually, I'm sure. I'm responsible for all the meals that get cooked in this house, so as soon as we got to like lunchtime or dinner time, I'm sure it'd be like, where is Dad? Where's Graham? Hopefully before they'd find me dead or anything like that. Right, are we ready? We're getting ready for quiz time. I'm going to click the button that says start. Drum roll, please. 16 players. Oh, I'm in the way. I'll put myself back up there. That's why we're not down there. Which common ailment might this fish be suffering from? Remember, fastest correct answer gets the most points. Is it fin rot, velvet, white spot / ick, or swim bladder disease? Which common ailment might this fish be suffering from? I feel like we should have some like background music for this. It is, of course, white spot, and quite a bad case. Which one of these is the highest grossing film adjusted for inflation? Is it Aquaman, Finding Dory, Shrek 2, or Jurassic Park? Shrek 2 is one I have an affinity for, obviously, playing a leading role. Hang on, why am I in... Who's signed up as me? What's going on there? I'm having my identity stolen in real time. It was Finding Dory. Which animal escaped from UK Zoo this week? Was it koala bear, a penguin, a parrot, or a red panda? While you ponder that, I'm going to move on to beer number 2 of the evening. An old favourite's making a return. The Northern Monk Eternal Juice Hazy IPA. 2 of my favourite words. It was a red panda. How cool would that have been? What country is this? For those of you watching on the podcast or listening on the podcast, looks a bit like a witch riding a broomstick with a cloak. I'm not sure how much helpful that'll be for our visually impaired viewers. So, is it South Africa, Australia, India, or Brazil? You can just make an educated guess. It is India. Which of these would not be considered a predatory fish? A pea puffer, a piranha, a pacu, or a bicher? Why have I not picked a pea? Pea puffer, piranha, pacu, or bicher? Polypterus. That's the bicher, isn't it? No, that's... Oh, I can't remember. It's the one you don't say the P. It is a pacu. How many YouTube channels have over 1 million subscribers? Is it 9,000, 190,000, 29,000, or 73,000? Still no Coffee Nabokov in the lead at this early stage. Not Juggler on 116. Shadows on 95. Courtney's on 87. Fish on 84. Raggedy Tulip on 77. And Silver Creek bringing up the leaderboard at 53 so far. 29,000 channels have 1 million subscribers. Which of the following statements about using salt in a freshwater aquarium is true? It can reduce the toxicity of nitrite. It clogs gills with mucus. It increases breeding behaviour. It can be used regularly without ill effect. Now this will be a controversial one because I know several people who would argue that all of them are true. Or none of them are true. According to PFK, it's that it can reduce toxicity of nitrite. How many hours of content are uploaded to YouTube every minute? Every minute, 100 hours are uploaded to YouTube, 500 hours, 700 hours, or 11 hours. Nabokov still in the lead at this stage. It is 500 hours every minute. 4 pounds and 14 ounces is the record size for which UK fish caught in a lake? I should probably add. Is it tench, roach, crucian carp, or minnow? Oh, and that's delicious. You see, this one, sorry, I'm breaking into beer chat, is the crucian carp. Which lake contains the largest number of different species of fish? Is it Lake Tanganyika, Loch Ness, Lake Superior, or Lake Malawi? This tasted of nothing, which is fine. Sometimes inoffensive is fine. This tastes of stuff. Not as much stuff as this, but enough stuff to make you think, oh, that's some stuff in that. I'll never be a beer critic. It's Lake Malawi. Almost 1,000 species. What is the name of the biannual event which happened this week where the sun sets between New York skyscrapers? Is it Empire Eclipse, Big Apple Solstice, Manhattan Henge, or the Yankee Lights? the name of the biannual event which happened this week where the sun sets between New York skyscrapers. Yum, 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 yum. It is Manhattan Henge, apparently. Question number 12. Which football team didn't win promotion this week? Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, Luton Town, Coventry City. I appreciate for our American viewers, they'll be going, what? Them guys don't play football, they play soccer. Sorry, I apologise to all my American viewers. Who didn't win promotion this week? It was Coventry City who were beaten by Luton Town in the playoff finals. Question 13. How many toes do guinea pigs have? I know some of our viewers have guinea pigs. They may feel they want to go and count right now. Double check I'm right. Is it 14, 18, 20 or 22? How many toes do guinea pigs have? It's a surprising number, if that's any kind of hint. They have 14 toes. 4 on the front foot, 3 on the back foot. Question 14. What is the biggest thing a blue whale could swallow? A human, a mouse, a grapefruit, a watermelon. Oh, pardon me, sniffles. What could a blue whale swallow? A grapefruit. They have very small throats. Which actor announced he was going to be a father at 83? Was it Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Jean-Claude Van Damme? That wasn't a hint. Was it Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, or Jean-Claude Van Damme? I don't know why we've got into this whole Jean-Claude Van Damme thing on the quiz. It's almost become an obsession. The answer is Al Pacino. What is the name of this Australian native fish? Is it a sooty grunter, a dusty humper, a waxy warbler, or a stony ute? A sooty grunter, a dusty humper, a waxy warbler, or a stony ute? Going to be completely honest, I'd never heard of it. And if I was playing along and someone else had written the questions, I'd have no idea. It's a sooty grunter. Look, I'm in the lead, Graham Kerr. Jean-Claude Van Damme was born in which country? France, Belgium, Austria, or Germany? I really hope I win. Question 17. Jean-Claude Van Damme was born in which country? France, Belgium, Austria and Germany. He had a nickname which was, with 5 seconds left, the Muscles from Brussels. It's Belgium. That should have been an easy one for everyone. In the state of Georgia, it's illegal to eat what with a fork? Fried chicken, ice cream, soup or corn? Not jugglers, leapfrogged Graham Kerr. Well, I promise, I'm not playing. It's not me. Pardon me. In the state of Georgia, it's legal to eat what with a fork? Fried chicken, ice cream, soup, or corn? I mean, it's difficult to eat some of them with a fork, but it's illegal to eat fried chicken with a fork, apparently. Puntus tetrazona is more commonly known as a cardinal tetra, a zebra danio, a Congo tetra, or a tiger barb. Question 19, last but one. Puntus tetrazona is more commonly known as a cardinal tetra, zebra danio, see I changed it for that one, Congo tetra, or tiger barb. It's a tiger barb. Last question. Which of these pub names is the most common? Royal Oak, Plough, White Hart, or King's Arms? This is an unprecedented week in the scoring. Last 2 weeks we've been over 300 points. No one's even close to that this week. And the answer was Royal Oak. That means, with 212 points, not Juggler, definitely not Juggler, has won this week's quiz. Second place with 202 points is Courtney, and third place with 199 points is me, somehow. So, whoever you people are, because I have no idea, send me a message somehow, somewhere. You can either email me or join me on Discord, send me a DM on Discord, and tell me who you are, where you are. I need an email address. So, not Juggler, I'm going to send you a discount code. And Courtney and Graham Kerr, if you get in touch, I'll send you a 10% discount code as well if you want it. You can hand it over if not. And now, for my favourite part of the night, we click the Insights button. Oh, look at this. Question 1. Which common ailment might this fish be suffering from? Everybody got that one right. Which of these is the highest grossing film? Oh, Shadow got that one straight away. But most people got that one wrong. I got that one wrong, and I wrote the question. Who is me? Which animal escaped from Yuki's zoo? Only a few of you got that one. Callum is me. I can't believe you used my name and then didn't win. I mean, if you're going to steal my identity, at least go all the way. Yeah, so apparently from Yuki Zoo, a red panda escaped. It was just like chilling out on somebody's garden shed roof. Like, yeah, I'm a panda. I'd love to see that. What country is it? It was India. Which would not be considered a predatory fish. Oh, I thought more people would have got that one. How many YouTube channels over 1 million subscribers? That's a bit of a guess, that one, I suppose. Which of the following statements about using salt in freshwater aquariums is true? So, only me and Fish got that one right. Need to try harder, people. How many hours of content are like 500 hours? Yeah, that's well done, everyone. £14. £4.14 is the record size for what? Crucian carp was the answer. A good few of you got that one right. Which lake contains the largest number of different species of fish? Wow, only me and Dan got that one right. Which makes me think, did I get that one wrong? No, because that was it's Lake Malawi. It has 700 confirmed different species and estimated to be 1,000 different species. What is the name of the biannual event? Oh, it's happened. Only one person got it right. Well done, quiz time. I mean, it's a stupid name. Let's be clear. Which football team didn't win promotion? You can tell who the football fans are. Oh no, Courtney got that one wrong. I thought you were a big football fan. How many toes do guinea pigs have? So they have 4 on the front paw and 3 on the rear paw, which is 7, and then they have 2 of each of them, 14. What is the biggest thing a blue whale could swallow? It's a grapefruit. Which actor announced he was going to be a father at 80? See, this, I thought this was going to be a tricky one, because last week Robert De Niro announced he was having a kid, but he's only 78, whereas Al Pacino was 83, and he's having one this week. The name of this Australian native fish, the sooty grunter. Who knew? Oh my god. My viewers are an embarrassment. Every week we have a Jean-Claude Van Damme question. Every week I say he's the mussels from Brussels. Yeah, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you got that right. In the state of Georgia, it's illegal to eat what with a fork? It's fried chicken, apparently. Puntus tetrazona is more commonly known as a tiger barb. I saw Rebecca questioning me there. That's what the website said, so you know how good I am with these names. And which of these pub names is the most common? Oh, only 3 got that one right. The most common pub name is, of course... Anyone? Most common pub name? A bonus point? I don't know if a bonus point is going to make a difference. I need to give you a bonus. 11 points. Scott says Rose and Crown. Scott's wrong. Juggler says Red Lion. Juggler's correct. So Juggler wins by even more. Well done, Juggler. Woo! Congratulations, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I quite like the quiz. It takes a while, but you know. Right, let's see how much everyone's upset with me. It does look like a witch riding a broomstick. I agree. Yay, I almost got a scientific name right, or a Latin name. So, I used to say polypterus, but it's... You shouldn't pronounce the P's, is that right? It's plypterus, as in, like, pterodactyl. A T after a P is silent. It's one of these ones that don't... I don't know. I love that you know this about salt. I mean, I extensively researched that salt question to make sure I was right, because I had so many arguments with people over the years about whether salt is good, bad, or indifferent. I completely lied there. I extensively researched this by reading a PFK article about salt and its use in the aquarium, and the article had cited sources, and I know after watching Rebecca talk to that bloke from America, citing sources is a big thing. Didn't check any of the sources, but the fact that they cited them, I was quite happy about that. I went full dyslexia on the salt one. I must admit, I thought this is a bit much. That was one of the ones I thought about swapping out, but as I have got to about 10 to 9 before I'd finished writing the quiz, I thought, ooh. You and your UK questions, dang you and your fairness. £4, what is that? So what is it, 2.2 kilos to the pound? Something like that. You know, we're fickle over here in this country. We insist on using the metric system, except when we don't want to. Kilometres per hour, get out of here with that stuff. We want miles per hour. Weighing things in pounds and ounces, only if it's fish. I left. I don't think it was working right for me. Some people do have problems with that, so I can't tell which one was you passing wind, but I do apologise. There's a learning curve. If anyone else has any kind of online quizzing experience and you want to suggest a better platform, I don't mind paying for a platform if it works more flawlessly. I tricked you with the lake one. See, I do like to have a mix of international questions. And New York is in America. As is Georgia. I've never in my life thought about guinea pigs having toes. Well, if you join our Discord server up here, it's been quite guinea pig heavy recently. And that's what made me think, let's have a guinea pig question. You thought he was French, Jean-Claude Van Damme, the muscles from Brussels? Silver Creek got the Georgia one. You thought Brussels was in Germany? Oh, God. You see, with your fancy scientific studies, you don't know where Jean-Claude Van Damme... Next time you get interviewed by some highfalutin podcast or scientific paper, I want you to use that as your example that you don't know everything. You know, when all these academics, they're quite humble, going, yeah, well, I've studied quite extensively in the fields of this and that and the other. But, you know, nobody ever knows everything. For instance, I didn't know Jean-Claude Van Damme was from Belgium. And when that happens, I will retire and hand over my channel to you. I've been made truly happy. I think second place is... I think so too, Courtney. You can have a 10% voucher. Send me a message and I'll send you a code for a voucher. You can have some free fish food or some cheaper, slightly cheaper fish food. How about that? Congratulations, Courtney, Juggler, and not Graham. Tetrazona is the tiger. Petazona is five-banded. What did I say? Is that not what we had? Hang on. Oh, yeah. Oh. How do I see my own questions? Come on, Graham, you can do this. Puntus tetrazona is more commonly known as the tiger barb. Tetrazona is the tiger. That's what I said. No? What have I got wrong? I don't want that to put anyone off, the fact that I can see exactly who answered what. I just find it fun to go through them all at the end. Right, let's scroll past all this nonsense and see if we've got any questions. A question for reals, says Nabokov. My swordtail lost its tail. Let me see, I can't read that, it's too small because I'm old and blind. Let me move that a little bit. My swordtail lost its tail, and its tail that just looks like a normal fishy tail is now slowly turning black in pattern. Weird or normal? Right, let me read that again. I've had 2 beers. My swordtail lost its tail, and his tail that just looks like a normal fishy tail, so the non-long swordtail, is slowly turning black in pattern. Weird or normal? Normal. I mean, I don't have extensive experience with swordtails specifically, but with many, many, many fish, changing colour over time is completely normal. Swordtails, even goldfish, platies, sometimes it can be an environmental factor. If they're not happy about something, they will slowly get darker. There was that famous... I think it was one of the first TikTok videos, or the first YouTube shorts, was about a goldfish that had been rescued, and they thought it was a black moor because it was black, and then they brought it back to health and it changed into an orange one. But yeah, I wouldn't think it means it's a bad fish because its tail's turning black. I mean, if it's had some trauma and lost a tail, then that might play some part of it, but I wouldn't be overly worried. Yeah, hang on. That makes sense. You thought the mussels from Brussels... You thought Brussels was in Germany, and then you put French. Just a guess. Yeah, that's fine. I have an A level in geography. I didn't realise Switzerland and Sweden were different countries till recently. It makes me laugh. I too, but my best qualification from high school was geography. And for a long time, I couldn't tell where anything was. Because geography, as a subject, I took geography thinking, they're going to teach me where things is. I want to know where shit is. I'll know. Geography is all about, V-shaped valley versus U-shaped valley, and how does glacial erosion affect a meander on a river, turning it into... What? I want to know where Australia is on a map. So I feel for you there. Have you ever had any updates about the cranky tilapia? Yes, he's moved on again. So the tilapia, I did a bit of a swap for the tilapia for the giant gourami. So he took the tilapia, but he did tell me at the time that he didn't want the tilapia full time, but he was happy to take it on because he knew somebody that would take it. So it's gone to this guy's brother, I think, who has a few indoor ponds, which makes me think I should actually get in contact with him and see if we can go around and film that, because that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, so he's moved on. He lived in this person's tank for a few weeks, happily enough, but quote unquote was too boisterous. So he's moved him on to his brother a bit sooner than he expected to. But as far as I know, still doing quite well. Tim has a question. Do air stones increase water pH like oxygen has the opposite effect to CO2? So, air stones in and of themselves, I would say no. What increases pH? Well, say no, or do I say yes? So, what's going on there is, and this is a fallacy a lot of people have, is that, I need more oxygen in my tank, I'll add an air stone because that puts oxygen in. Sort of. It's not you're not pumping air into your aquarium. What you're doing is breaking the surface of the aquarium with the bubbles, and that allows the gas exchange. That allows CO2 and oxygen to move between the states. Whereas if you just have a flat top, they find it much harder to move between the gaseous and the liquid states. Whereas if you're breaking that surface, it could be an air stone, it could be a trickle filter, it could be a sump falling into the water, anything that's breaking the surface tension and making some splashes and some bubbles and things like that. It's the gas exchange that's doing that exchange. It's the exchange. So adding an air stone will allow the gas exchange, which can affect your pH, rather than it being you're pumping in something that does a thing. Which you probably knew, and I might be teaching my granny how to suck eggs there. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Best place to research what plants can handle discus temps? It's fairly well trodden ground. A lot of your plant specialists, whether it be even eBay and things like that, they'll do a discus collection, and it's your crypts, your Amazon swords, all that kind of stuff. You really need to talk to a plant specialist about specific conditions that you can keep certain plants. But most plants and most plant websites, even Tropica, I'm thinking of most of the places I used to buy plants, they will have like a care sheet, and it'll tell you things like temperature, depth, high light, low light, all the kind of basic things, but temperature is usually one of those. So I don't know where you would do like research on unknown plants other than just doing it yourself. I've never heard anyone talk specifically about that kind of thing, but hopefully that makes sense. Oh, there you go. Check out flowgrow.de. They have a Wasserplanten Databanker. I'm guessing that's a German site that has a water plant database. But like I say, the Aquarium Gardens here in the UK, Tropica, Aquaflora, they all list ideal habitats for plant care. Hello. Number 2, son. Humbercoy says, good evening, Bubblin' Fins sent me. Well, thank you very much, Bubblin' Fins. What's Bubblin' Fins? Were they streaming before me or something? Bubblin' Fins, UK, indeed. Thank you very much. I just wanted to check out that channel. I'm not sure the aquarium industry looks into plant care much. Yeah, but like I said, it's a fairly common trope that you'll get a discus plant package, so therefore anything in there can handle higher temperatures. I think if you're looking for something outside of that well-trodden ground of your crypts, your Amazon swords, that kind of thing, it's more trial and error unless somebody is publishing that data. I don't know. She's a smaller new channel. I can see that. I'd recognise the name. I think I might have spoken to them before. I could be wrong. Right, we've reached the last half hour. Sorry, I was just watching something else there. We've reached the last half hour. What do we want to talk about? What have we got planned? I have my next big project is this behind me. Everything you can see is going to change. I talked about being the jack of all trades. So I've built the shed. We've moved everything into the shed. That's moved the bikes out, which has given me all the space in the garage. I'm unclear or unsure whether I'm going to build a wall down there and insulate that, or just put up a load of thermal curtains and build my desk. So this desk here, put that down in the garage, move all this down there and start working from there full time. And then I can be like properly back into my... The best thing I've ever done is work from my fish room, because I get to spend all day around all my fish and you get to see all the behaviours. Just so much better. So if I can do that in a kind of side offshoot maybe, move all this down, have all these tanks down there, have all my Aquarium Adventures merch and food and all that kind of stuff all next to me. I think we might be onto a winner. For the next couple of weeks, that's going to take me a while to build that, so I think we've got a week's worth of mega tank finishing off to do, and then that'll be the next big project. Then I've got my... Once mega tank's fixed, pardon me, I've got my X display tank, 5x2x2. I don't know what to do in it. Is it going to be... Is this the time to start African cichlids? Is this something trophious? Get another puffer? If I hack a puffer, that would be a good size tank for a hack puffer. I don't know what to do with that big tank, so, or just leave it empty for the next time mega tank leaks. Who knows? Gazzy's Koi Pond says, how many tanks do you have? Good question. I think at last count it was about 30. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, 30. I'm going to go with 30 in a pond. Hope that makes sense. Many plants can handle it, not about long-term discus and high temperature environments. I don't think I see aquatic plants. So, I don't know whether it's me, but I often see people with discus tanks and they talk about using Java ferns. So this tank here, the majority of the greenery you see there is Java ferns. And I've got baby Java ferns, they're sprouting Java ferns. It's just going Java fern crazy. I've never been able to keep Java fern in a discus tank. And this tank being a bit cooler, not a problem. So I think there's definitely some plants that just do not do well. How's the mega tank doing? Better. So we discussed mega tank at the start. So at the moment it's empty. It's curing after my fix. It'll probably be getting refilled on Sunday because I'm busy tomorrow. So tune in. We'll see. I was looking up aquarium. No, that's not what it says. I was looking up IKEA stuff, aquarium adventures. Turns out that they rate them for £55. Particle board and so forth. I know it's been working for you for years. I just wanted to share the info. Okay. Graham, how long should I acclimate pea puffer? Sorry to ask, but I'm a bit frazzled. So, I don't like to give this kind of advice because it can be so wrong. If you're buying them locally, I really like the plop and drop method. As long as you know the water parameters aren't going to be too wildly different, and I know a lot of people misunderstand pH and things like that. pH is a logarithmic scale, I think it is, rather than a linear scale. So what looks like on paper, it's going from 5.7 to 6.1, that's not much. That's quite a lot. If you're in the vicinity pH-wise and your general water parameters are in the vicinity, get the temperature up, get them in. Plop and drop all the way. If you want to drip acclimate them, that, again, it doesn't take long. Just drip acclimate them at an hour tops. Nothing more than that. I feel like a lot of people make a lot of, not mistakes, but they overly complicate acclimation. I've seen people who have floated bags on top of an aquarium for an hour to get the temperature to match, and then open the bag and start pouring in like teaspoonfuls of water at a time. That isn't going to help. A sealed bag, right, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but a sealed bag where the fish have been excreting ammonia into that, because there's a limited supply of oxygen in there, the pH drops and the ammonia is less harmful. Well, it's got that low pH, GH, KH relationship is all low. As soon as you open it up, oxygen floods in, massive pH spike, ammonia becomes more toxic, fish go, oh, for fuck's sake. Ah. So I'm a big fan of, if you're going to keep the bag shut for a long time, as soon as you open it, get those fish out of there. If you can get your fish in the bag and get them to your house quickly, fine, open it. It's not going to be a big deal because they haven't had that long to excrete into the water. You can do drip acclimations and all that kind of stuff. But it's got to be one or the other. You can't mix the two because that's where people get into trouble. But whatever it is, if you're going kind of half an hour, 40 minutes, it's enough. You don't need to take longer than that. In my opinion. I have to say in my opinion at the end of everything because then it qualifies and gets me out of jail for killing all your fish. I apologise. I hope that makes sense. I don't mean to play down the whole fish. So I bought some fish today. I bought some pond fish, and they were telling me about people who float their bag on the pond on a sunny day for a couple of hours, and then get surprised when they come back and all the fish are dead because they've been in a bag in the sunshine getting cooked, basically. So people with the best of intentions make a lot of mistakes. So I think it's a lot better to just get it over and done with as quick as possible. And again, with marine fish, sometimes that's different. With corals, that's different. You do want to do longer, but again, it's not more than an hour. If you're going over an hour, you're doing it too long. If looking at African cichlids, I recommend more smaller species, and there isn't just shell dwellers. Oh yeah, definitely. I do still want to keep shell dwellers. I've still not done that. I saw some lovely ones today at the shop that I was picking up the shabunkins from. I should have just bought them. Pleco breeding colony with some plex from in the bag, in the big tank. Yeah. The thing about pleco and breeding colonies is you can do that with other fish as well, so that might be something to do. A video on your discus breeding? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that because it's becoming a problem. It's becoming problematic. We're going to move on to beer number 3/4. The old favourite. The Heathen Hazy IPA from Northern Monk. Discus breeding, I have 3 sets of eggs. I don't know how many pairs I've got going, but I have 3 sets of eggs in my discus display tank at the moment, and it is carnage. Some fish are getting beat the hell up. So we do need to do something. What do you keep in your pond? So, as of today, I have some comet goldfish, some shamunkins, some lemon goldfish, and some... I keep wanting to say fancy comets, but what are they called? Sarasas? Something like that. Something along those lines. The Java ferns, I wonder about the nutrients. Most higher temperature fishies, we keep the nutrients lower. That is true. Maybe that could be. But I've also had thriving planted tanks where I've put Java ferns in and they've just wilted and died. Who knows? Jen Pink, thanks for the fund. No problem. Enjoy your dog walk. Oh God, lots of comments. So slow at reading comments. I apologise, everyone. Plop and drop, I think, is great, or the best with fishies that have been in the bag 12 plus hours. Yeah, so that is a big point. The longer the fish have been in the bag, the more I recommend the plop and drop. So if you're getting fish shipped to you from far away, plop and drop beats everything because of that whole ammonia thing. If you're getting them quite local and can get them out of the bag that they're in quite quickly, then yes, drip acclimation, all these things become much more preferable options. But still, plop and drop isn't bad, so I quite like it. Acclimation is usually 20 to 30 minutes, double or triple the water volume over time. The only thing with puffers is that I don't know you really want to plop and drop them. Yeah, I'm more than happy to plop and drop them. It's fast. It's one of the things that's not good is, with puffers especially, is netting them, wandering about for 5 minutes and then putting them in. But if you're just going whoosh, whoosh, it's fine. The problem with puffers is if they puff up when they're not in water, and then they're puffed up with air, and then you have to deal with that. Changes over that period, particularly pouring amounts over time, is more stressful over a longer period of time. Yeah, if you, even common sense dictates, if you think about it from the fish's point of view, if it's in a little bag, it's not going to like that. If you keep it in there longer than you need to, that's a longer period of time that's under stress. You need to play that longer period of time of stress over a short period of get it out of the bag and into the that's quite stressful too. Yeah, I'm fine. Over this is really uncomfortable. How much? I don't think anyone's ever done a scientific study on that, but in my opinion and in my experience, Plop and Drop has never failed me. So this is something that's fairly new to me. I didn't know until maybe a year or two ago about corridors, for instance. When they get stressed, they actually release a toxin and they poison the bag. So that's why often you'll see corridors shipped in bags of 2 and no more than 2. So you limit the chance of them killing off a whole bag full. But it's a good illustration. So if you think about it, the fact that they're getting stressed enough in that bag for however long that is to release a toxin, even if your fish isn't releasing a toxin, if it's getting stressed enough, so that same amount of stress applies to whatever fish it is, regardless of whether it releases a toxin or not. If it's getting stressed, stress is bad. So you want to limit that as much as possible. So getting them out into a larger volume of water, even if the parameters are slightly different, is less stressful than keeping them in that enclosed space full of ammonia, full of stress from not being able to move around. So I've always been a very strong advocate of temperature can shock a fish, but they can also survive it quite easily. But I will give it doesn't take long to get a bag up to temperature. So a 10-20 minute float, if that, to get temperatures that's close, and then get it out, plop and drop. I can't even remember the last time I did a drip acclimation, and even with some really expensive fish. And I've never lost a fish that way. But again, your results may vary. I don't know. I don't want to. As I say to everyone, I am not an expert. I'm learning too. I'm making this up as I go along most of the time. I never drip acclimate and barely float. Well, there you go. So there's a very experienced fish keeper there. For really sensitive fish or special cases, I use a bucket or specimen container, air pump ready to go, toss in some moss, acclimate them that way, drop a dechlorinator, and then try to... And that's fine. I've just never found the need to do that. If I wanted to do that, it would be something that I transported in a bucket and never enclosed the space and kept an air stone going the whole time I was transporting it. I just think the amount of... Very few fish are that sensitive that they need that level of care. People are too scared of quick changes in water parameters. What do you think is going to happen after a big rainfall? A melt upstream. The fish adapt, same as you or me, to stepping out of a warm house to a cold house. And to a degree, I fully agree with that. It's the one thing that I do worry about is pH in its extremes. You can go from something, and it's more something I experience more in the saltwater world, where a swing on that parameter, you can see a fish go, oh, for fuck's sake, oh, no, I don't want this. It's never really happened to me with freshwater fish. Just get up to temperature and get it in. Stop faffing about. That's my advice to everyone. Stop faffing about. Just get on with it. Right, sorry, I'm miles behind again. We've got 10 minutes to go. If you've got any questions, add the word question to your question, and I might see your question. Where will Graham's discus be available if they make it? I don't think they will be available. I mean, to special friends of the channel, if anyone wants some, then they're welcome to them. But selling fish seems to be very much of a hassle these days. So, if any of my subscribers want some of my discus offspring, I'm more than happy to share. Question. I did curse you when I asked what happens when mixed discus pair up and lay egg. Well, I did tell you, you can't just willy-nilly pair up discus. You get some horrific discus sometimes. Don't Java fern need quite a bit of potassium? Maybe. I'm very much not a plant person. Maybe this is a question we can ask a potential future guest when I finally get around to chasing them up on it. If we have any plant questions, we'll save them up, definitely. I've never lost a fish to plop and drop. Me neither. Dripping many. To be fair, I haven't dripped that many, so I haven't lost any to that way either, to be fair. Pardon me. Mr. Tropical Koi, good evening. Bubble and Fins sent me over. Thank you very much, Bubble and Fins. I appreciate it. I have no clue to whether to go RO or HMA, to be fair. To be honest. I can't make that decision for you, really. It has to be what you're trying to do. So I would never go RO unless I was trying to breed for profit, really. But that's because my water's pretty good to start with. So with an HMA, I can get a guaranteed TDS of 100 or less. That's good enough for anything I want to do as a hobbyist or a hobbyist breeder even. If I wanted to hit a specific target, if I was breeding on a scale, then yes, I would use RO and I'd remineralise to hit a specific target that I know I'm going to get my best yield from. But if the water coming out of my tap was god awful, then yes, RO might be the way to go to get something that's just usable. So it's horses for courses. It depends what you're trying to hit, and it depends what you're working with. I don't think I'll ever use RO properly. Which one is better for PFOAs and things like that? I don't know what that means. So the water here is weird. Lowish pH from the tap, but KH and GH way high. Yeah, you can definitely take a lot of trouble out if you're dealing with something that's a bit crazy or a bit weird and you're not happy with it. Take a lot of trouble out by RO, just sets everything to 0 and then you get to build it back up. Flip Aquatics added instructions. We were all wrong, or his directions are nothing I've heard here. He says leave in your house for 4 to 6 hours to acclimate to room temperature. Don't float the breather. Well, there's a variable. Yes, if you're using breather bags, you definitely don't float them. So breather bags are a special type of membrane that you get to use without. Normally, a fish bag will be, you'll have your bag, that much will be water, and then that much will be air, and then that's how they're shipped. Breather bags are just all water because they can do that gas exchange within the bag. So you can't float them or you suffocate the fish. So yes, your only choice is to put them into room temperature or on near a radiator to get them up to tank temperature or something along those lines, and then get them in. So you caught us out with that one, only Oscars. Right, last couple of minutes. I'm going to scan down, see if we... Gazzy's Koi Pond. What is your favourite beer? Good, is it? It's here. At the moment, after extensive research, it's this. And if you're really interested, I have a whole spreadsheet I can share. But For the best part of 18 months, I've been working out what my favourite beer is, and this is the current leader. Lovely stuff. Is it worthwhile buying a TDS meter? It is if you're trying to figure out what's going on. I say this with a caution because a TDS meter, TDS, for anyone that doesn't know, is total dissolved solids. What it is a meter that you can dip in your tank and it will say 100 or 327 or whatever it says. What it doesn't say is what those TDS are. It doesn't say, it just says the number. So you could have a TDS of 10 and have horrific water, and you could have a TDS of 500 and have fine water. If that 10 is like copper and acid and all heavy metals and disgusting stuff, that's really bad. If your TDS is like inert substances, it don't really matter. It's a general guide to then let you think about whether or not you focus on something else. So when you know your water's okay, it isn't killing fish, and you're having healthy, long-lived fish, and you want to try breeding, and you try your TDS, and it comes out and it says, yeah, your TDS is 80 parts per million. You think, yeah, I'm fine with that. We can go with that. It's step 1 in figuring out or not even step 1, step 5, whatever it might be. It's one step in figuring out your water parameters before you have to go and figure out what all the other ones are to determine exactly what's going on. So they're great because they're cheap and they give you a very quick and repeatable answer as to what's going on, but they also don't really tell you what's going on because there's so many unknowns after that. Hello. What? Sorry, number 1 son has come to request more time. I'm on it. Yes, son. What? Okay. So TDS pens, pH pens, all the pens, they're not expensive, so they're good to have and they give you quick answers, but you do want to know what's going on a little bit more than that, in my opinion. Right, we're at time. Thank you very much for everyone for joining me. If you want to see what happens when we do the big refill, check out Discord, check out all the socials, all the stuff. I'll let you know what's going on when I start to fill it on Sunday probably. If you're new here and this is your first time, thank you for coming along. There's a subscribe button down there. If you click that, I'd be ever so happy. Yeah, thanks for coming everyone. See you next week. Hope you've had fun. Bye.